Hi everyone. Have I ruined my visual there? Has it gone like really?
Can you start a podcast without being distracted by something else?
No.
It's your awkward little
I
thing.
know. I do love it. I can imagine everyone on the show is just like, what? But anyway, we digress already. 1 minute into the show.
Every time.
I'm your friend and co-host Ben Salt.
I'm your resident other friend and co-host Sam BK.
So we've I think we hit it quite well last week, seemingly doing the podcast in this way.
Yeah, so we've done it again.
You know, why change when you found some sort of formula that actually had a working?
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Just improve it week on week. So, this episode of the Mancave Podcast. So last week we did the top 10 grossing films of all time.
Yep.
And as we're coming to the end of this decade, which is scary,
it's a decade.
Wow.
Honestly, until today, I wasn't thinking about it. It's not just, another year, is it? It's a decade.
Yeah, it ends the strangest of decades, the noughties. I don't think anybody actually understood or knew what to call it until this year.
That's because it was either the noughties or the teenies.
Yeah. Oh.
And what are you going to call it?
Teenies is a bit risky. Very risky. Yeah. And so, what we thought we would do, I guess this could probably take us to the end of the year almost.
Probably. People will be sick of it.
People will be like, oh my God, another list. But what we thought we'd do, the idea of the podcast was thinking about things that we've loved, and it's not just games, which I know heavily features on our show, but it is movies, which we did last week. It is TV shows, it is sports, it's music.
Yes.
And so today we're going to go back and have a look at some of our favourite TV shows of this decade. Ooh,
yeah.
Strong topic.
It's difficult though, isn't it? Because it's 10 years. It's like, what was I watching all that time ago? I mean, it's 9 years technically.
And there's going to be shows that we've completely missed that, let's say 6 years ago, you might have watched a mini-series that you thought, oh, that was the best thing ever. But yeah, we had a call on the way home from work. We thought, right, let's put a bit of a list together. I can imagine some of the things that we'll discuss. I'm hoping we've got some that's a bit kind of out there and we haven't got together, because obviously we'll watch different TV, but
we'll probably correct each other on what was in the decade as well.
Yeah, that's why I have Google. So visual learners and visual learners?
Yeah.
Visual watchers of the show, my display's just there, so I have Google up on that, and then my Mac is here.
You techie.
No. One of the things I want to invest in, and you'll have to let us know if it's actually worth it. Now, Apple's webcams in their Macs are awful. They are the worst quality. So I was thinking of looking at getting a webcam for a bit of streaming and kind of having it maybe there, so it's a little bit...
Yeah.
We'll see, but let us know. Let us know in the comments below if you think it's worth it.
Yeah. Well, okay, so let's digress then. So the last decade, so we're going from 2010 till obviously 2019.
We are.
Because that's how decades work.
That's time.
And I mean, I wanted to. I've picked out a bunch of TV shows here that I've enjoyed over the last 10 years. I had to ask my girlfriend what some of them were. I was like, "What's that TV show I watched?" But we were like, "What did we watch?" Like a year into our relationship, 2 years into our relationship, kind of thing. But it's difficult as well because one that's on my list didn't start in the decade, but it ended.
We'll give you that. If it's majority,
we'll allow it.
If the majority of the show was in this decade, you can have it.
Yeah, it's bonus points if that's the case, isn't it? But I think so. I mean, do you want me to just go for it?
I'll go for throw a show out there, and we'll go. We'll see where it takes us and where it takes us.
I think just before we finally delve in, at the start of the decade, what is it we were doing? So we were basically at university. If you think
No, we were still at school. We were just going
Well,
into
no,
college
sorry,
in
it was
sixth form,
sorry,
weren't we?
it was the. I thought it was the last year of
because
college.
2011 was
That was the first year of uni.
that was the first year of uni. So 2010, we were still.
Okay, so we've got the final. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's actually that long ago.
God, wow! This is so for the listeners. This is a big 10 years of our life.
Yeah.
We've gone from everything being like awesome and still fresh to the realization of the real world.
Yeah, do you know what I was saying that today at work, and I was saying, "Oh, I think we're going to do this as a podcast today," and I was like, "This is our entire adult life."
Yeah, exactly.
But and I'm sure for the majority of our listeners, analytics tells us that this is true. They're either our age or even younger, and it's either you growing up or becoming an adult in this decade. Like, it's a big thing.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I didn't really used to watch TV shows. There was a period in university where I just didn't watch TV. It wasn't my life. I was like, well, I've got so much other stuff to do. Like, I love my music, and I go out a lot because I'm at university, and I'm more preoccupied with a lot of other things in my life. So TV, the first big show at that time, I can't think of about 2010 now. I've realised that I was at college and not university, but the first big TV show I remember in the world was Breaking Bad, because that was sort of finishing in my third year of uni.
Yeah, it finished the last year of uni because that is when I picked it up.
Yeah, same.
I picked it up when everyone had finished watching it.
Yeah. Have you got any shows that literally came in 2010? Because I've got the one that didn't start in the 2010s that I'll talk about.
My big one started in 2011. Yeah.
Right, okay. But I think a lot, because right, I'm going to throw a few names out there. I've got How I Met Your Mother.
Oh, yeah.
It is just on our TV if there's nothing else to watch. I must have watched it like 7 times now. I just put it on. It's kind of like Friends when it's on the TV.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly when it started. I think I was in college when it started, so it might be 2010, 2009.
Do you want me to break your heart, Sam? That show started on the 19th of September, 2005. That show started 14 years ago, and its final episode was the 31st of March 2014. It had a long run. That was a 9-year run.
Actually, yeah, because I was in the third year of uni when it finished. Yeah. Oh, my God.
Wow, I remember I was watching that. That was... Oh, what a show that was.
I know. That's something for everybody. It's kind of as close they'll get to a modern version of Friends as,
Yeah, that
you can get, really.
Had an incredibly strong cast in the end. I think both of us had the biggest crush on Robin.
Yeah.
Sorry, Katie. Sorry, Daisy. She's an actress. It's fine. But
yeah, okay. So again, that's one that started before the decade, but it finished and it had its big,
pop
jazz hand moment, big ending. Like Breaking Bad finished. How I Met Your Mother. One of my favorite ones was Californication.
Oh! See, I'm forgetting all of these.
You are. You see, God. Mate, my list is full.
Oh, this is brilliant.
So. I'm going to start with Californication. I know we've just thrown a load out there.
Yeah.
I want to start with this one, and we'll do a bit of talking. So, Californication, Hank Moody is your main character. He's got his wife, who he's been in and out of love with. He's got this daughter that they didn't expect. But it's all about rock and roll, the whole show. So I love it. It's set in LA. The music's rock and roll. There's loads of cameos from... people like that. It's all about drugs, sex, and just it's amazing. And he's a complete womanizer.
Oh, it's brilliant. It really is.
So being a 18 to 21-year-old at the time, I was like, this guy's my idol.
But he was a writer, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was a writer. Again, like, I'm a songwriter, so I was just like, oh, this guy.
He drives a soft top Porsche in LA. He's my guy. Oh, wow, yeah. I Wow, I forgot about that. Like we both watched that kind of at the same time, didn't we? That was
Yeah. That was like one of the first ever things on Netflix I watched, because Netflix still wasn't massive around the early, 2010 era. So it was a thing, but it wasn't as popular.
So right. I'm going to throw it out there. Podcast listeners, let us know what you think as well. But I think this is a lie. Do you know when Netflix was set up? Like when it founded?
Oh, something like 2007.
Right. Podcast listeners, be shocked. If you're driving, maybe pull over. Netflix was founded in 1997.
No.
What?
That's impossible.
No, it was the 29th of August, 1997. I remember hearing that. It was like one of these tech things, and it was like, oh, when were these companies founded? I was like, oh, yeah, Netflix must have been like early 2000s, because that's when streaming got popular. No, 1997.
I have so many questions that I'm not going to ask, because we're not talking about that.
But anyway, yeah, I think that was a big thing for Netflix at the time.
Yeah. So Californication, I loved. I think being that kind of age bracket, that kind of thing was exactly what I was after. So I enjoyed it. I know you enjoyed it. I think I would probably give that series probably an 8 out of 10. I think it had 5. I could be completely wrong. I think it had 5 seasons. It was just chaos for the first 3. It was awesome, and then it kind of had to get serious because they were going to end it. So I mean, at the time, I would have given it a 10 out of 10, but I think looking back, probably an 8.
Well, as I am your stat man,
that'll
be our thing. Sam's going to be the creative, like, this is my thoughts on it. I'm going to be like, I'm going to whack you some stats. So that started, it has 7 series, and you're pretty much bang on the money. A lot of the reviews are giving it kind of like an 8/9 out of 10.
Yeah. Okay.
So you are like a IMDb, or as I called it last week, an IMD aficionado.
Sounds like a drug.
Yeah, I took some IMD and took a review. Cool. Well, I'm gonna drop a show. Yeah. One of my favourites.
Go for it.
And it's one of my favourites, which has come out of kind of nowhere and very recently, but it's bang up my street, which is Silicon Valley.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Exactly. Right. So I've got Sky, and it came up as like a suggestion on that. I was like, oh, I'll watch an episode of that. Why not? And because they're American, they're only 20 minutes long because we don't have adverts over here. And it's basically a guy who sets up an app.
Right.
But it's in Silicon Valley, where Apple, Google, Facebook all are. And it's basically his kind of journey of setting up this new app tech company. But the humor in it is just, if you're slightly geeky, if you're slightly into tech, oh my God, honestly, it is hilarious. It's one of my favorite new. So it came out in 2014. So again, it's not actually been out. It's been in my conscious for about 3 months, but
oh wow, a fresh one,
very fresh. But honestly,
that's cool. I've just realised what another one on your list is going to be, because I know you very well. But I'll wait for you to reveal it later. And if it's not, I'm going to call you out. But I've just realised one that's very you. Okay,
so that's one of mine.
Cool. So I'm going to go. I mean, you're going to have your Sky TV ones, your Netflix ones. My next one is an Amazon Prime one.
Oh.
So I don't know if you've ever seen it, but it actually got cancelled this year, I think.
Because obviously if Sam likes it, it gets cancelled.
It gets cancelled. We've talked about this before. And I've just remembered another one of my favourite TV shows that I'm going to put on the list that also got cancelled. So hold on. Lovely. That's another one. Right. Okay. Now, this one is called Mozart in the Jungle. This is, it's New York, and it's about the New York Symphony Orchestra, basically. And it's basically a bit of a drama about everybody involved in the show's lives. Now, the conductor's the main character. Well, no, the main character is a girl she's amazing at playing her instrument, and she falls in love with the conductor, and the conductor's the funniest guy in the world. Like, he's Is he Spanish or Italian or something
He's
like
Italian,
that?
isn't he? Yeah.
Is he something like that? And
He's
the
one
only
of
reason I
them.
don't know is because I haven't. Yeah, it was so bad. But he's such a funny maverick kind of guy. Like he's one of the best characters, like a Barney Stinson, like a Hank Moody kind of thing. And yeah, unfortunately, it got cancelled for whatever reason, like most good programs do. And so I'll never know the ending. But I was totally in love with the girl.
So did that get
the main lead?
kind of cancelled with it looking like the directors, the writers, producers, and everything? They looked like they were actually going to continue to write, so it never actually ended as a story.
There's nothing on the ending of it. Like the main guy who I've been talking about had an interview, and he was like, "If you know why it was cancelled, please let me know."
Wow, they're the worst.
So
I mean, it's kind of like unfulfilled.
It's kind of like what we've brought up before in How Not to Live Your Life, which was on the BBC.
Yeah,
like it wasn't. It was just a man in an office decision. Oh, I don't like that one.
Do you know what I think quite lucky about How Not to Live Your Life? They did get that Christmas special.
Oh, yeah, that was brilliant. The fact that at least they got an episode to finish it all off.
I think that way, it kind of, as a fan, you were like, I'd never want this to end. I would love this to continue forever. But at least it's been given a send-off in a way that the writer, Dan, absolute legend, was able to at least round that story off. Because if that had just ended, like, I felt like it was getting better. So that just But anyway, it's a shame. But I saw that on Amazon Prime. It was one of the big 4K releases, so obviously I was into it.
That's another one for me.
I might have to give that a watch. So another. Should we go with a? Okay, yeah, we'll go with another one of mine, which is a strictly streaming based.
Come dancing.
Oh, I like what you did there. Listeners, we'll have to keep listening to find out my thoughts on that. But on a streaming service, I think one of the big shows that have really come out of that is Stranger Things.
Stranger Things.
Stranger Things.
Definitely. I think it's one of the biggest TV shows in the world right now because I think everybody likes it. It's not...
Yeah.
It's not controversial like Game of Thrones. It's just everybody kind of enjoys it because it's got a bit of everyone. It's got the kids, the families, and all of it.
It's got the nostalgia of the 80s.
Exactly.
Which I think ticks a lot of boxes for a slightly older audience. I think anyone... I think that's had like a resurgence. Like, if you said to me 3 years ago that one of the coolest brands out there currently would have been companies like Fila and Elise, like that is so 80s, 90s. So I think it's hit that really well. So that started in 2016. I remember watching.
Still not finished.
And I can't imagine that finishing for some time.
They're going to milk it for all it's worth. There's going to be quite a few more seasons.
And I hope
they don't
season
kill it.
3 was better than season 2. I think...
yes, I said that last night. Yeah.
Season 1 smashed it and totally deserved the second series. The second series, I feel, wasn't as good as the first, but the third, I think, was really good. So it's kind of like... elevated it, and the way that the third season ended, you can 100% tell they have that fourth season in the bag. So
it's the darling of the TV.
That was one of the best, I think, originals out of Netflix this decade.
I mean, that's definitely a flagship bearer for Netflix, and has definitely helped them become their own entity, really, with having movies that are specifically for it and whatever. I'm going to run through because obviously, we don't want to go into too much detail about some of them. I'm going to knock a few out, okay?
Bosh them out, sir.
I'm going to bosh them out. So, Catastrophe. Have you ever seen that? Amazon Prime.
Yeah, I think I have.
Irish woman and a American guy have a kid.
Yes.
And then it's awesome. I haven't actually seen the end of the last season because I think it was on TV or all 4, and it hasn't made it. The final season isn't on Amazon Prime. Only the first 3 seasons. Me and my girlfriend loved it. So that's one that I'm going to quickly throw out there.
Like it's 99% on Rotten Tomato. That wow.
The thing is, though, there's not a lot of TV shows where they kind of, and I know it's not my demographic, but it's just a thrown together couple in like who live in London and they've got this house and they go on. It's kind of like both the parents. They kind of go out a bit in the show, like 20-year-olds, and it's kind of been able to vicariously live through that. There's no movies or TV shows about being, apart from like Friends and How I Met Your Mother, that bracket of being, mid-20s to mid-30s, I don't think. And I think it captures that really well. So that's that one.
Yeah,
another one I'm going to throw out there, which you made me have a light bulb moment for. No one's going to have heard of it. It was called Reaper. Can you remember Reaper?
I want to say yes. Let me...
I might be out of the decade. Let me know.
Let's have a look. That's not it. That's a piece of application. Reaper TV show. That's what I'm looking for.
Basically...
Oh, no. It was 2007 to 2009.
Oh, well, it got canned, so it would have made it into the decade, but because I like it, they thought, oh no, we can't have this. So okay, well we're not even going to go into that one because it's.
I'd heard of that one though.
Yeah. It was basically it was a guy whose dad was the devil, and they kept having to get these little trinkets and capture people. And anyway, moving on. And then another one that I want to just quickly throw out there, which I think is really awesome, is Black Sails.
I've not seen that.
Oh, mate, it's like Game of Thrones, but pirates. It's on Amazon Prime. That's one of my favourite. I didn't like the ending because I'm like, I want a final shootout kind of guy. No spoilers, and it's all about Long John Silver and that kind of thing, and it's beautiful. And
you love your Amazon Prime.
Apparently, yeah.
I think they've because they won like a few Emmys, didn't they? Amazon Prime, some of that work. So they've obviously made some good TV.
Yeah, they had that Mr. Robot program that was like not on my list, but So there's a bunch from me.
Brilliant.
Over to you.
Right, so I'm going to bring it to a couple of very British-based TV shows.
Cool.
Now...
Don't say Miranda.
I love a good comedy, but... right, actually, because I've kind of just remembered another one to add, but basically, it makes sense because they're basically the same programme. So I'll merge two shows together.
Go for it.
Now, one was a one-off thriller series, and the other is a long-term television series, which is The Bodyguard and Line of Duty.
Oh, see, The Bodyguard's one of those everybody went mad about for a month.
Yeah, it was 6 episodes. And obviously it was Richard Madden, isn't it, out of Game of Thrones. He's done a few other things. I just think as a piece of cinematic TV from the BBC, I just thought it was incredible. And as a one-off, just how they filmed it, the story, I just think it gripped like everybody. Like anytime you'd like meet up with people, every time it was on after work. Like, do you remember at school when Little Britain was on?
Oh my god!
And
it was the biggest thing. And the next day at school, everyone,
and it was like you had to watch it that night because the day after you'd come into school and everyone was saying what it was, what happened.
Yeah,
and I felt like that was what was happening with The Bodyguard. Like if you didn't watch it, the day after you go into work and everyone was like, "Oh, what's going on with Bodyguard?" So Bodyguard, and then the same people who made that made Line of Duty, which is in its fifth season. It's going into its 6th season now. And
sounds like a pretty like a drama.
It is, yeah. It's a crime drama basically. It's the
Okay.
Bobbies. It's the Anti-Corruption 12. So if you can watch that on iPlayer, because that is one of I would say the best crime drama I've seen.
Yeah.
For some reason,
I tend to like more light-hearted stuff.
Oh, see, I love a good murder. If there's a good murder or if there's a good like drug syndicate, I'm
in. Great evidence for later in life when Ben has his midlife crisis.
Yeah. Well, on it, but I don't know. I quite like to guess. Like I said in the last podcast, I like guessing what's happened in a movie or a TV show. So I'm like, oh, who was that guy? That guy did it, and then it ends up not being that guy. You're like, damn you writers. But yeah, so they're two of my favourites. Cool. So I'll let you throw out one because they were brilliant.
Cool. I'm going to make my way to my final two that I've decided on looking at my list. So I want to talk a bit more about like Breaking Bad, because it was the first time I remember for our generation having a show that everyone in the world was watching. It was kind of like oh, you're not watching this? Why aren't you watching this? You've got to watch this kind of thing. You know, you look at the biggest TV series of all time. You've got like The Sopranos and stuff, which I've never watched, which apparently you have to watch. And I think, I just kind of, it was one of those where I had my laptop at uni. Whenever I made dinner, I'd, bosh an episode out. And I just did two. It was the first time I'd ever binge watched anything, I think.
Yeah.
Because that culture had just started, hadn't it? And to be honest, the first two seasons didn't really do it for me.
I was just about to say, in terms of a running order, how does everybody describe Breaking Bad? The way I describe it is, so you get us through season 1 to 3. You put up with it because it's building a great storyline, and then basically, like season 4 and 5 are the greatest episodes and series of television that your minds will ever experience, and that's how I describe Breaking Bad.
It was just like, okay, I'm watching this because I'm watching it for 2-3 seasons. Then it was just like, wham! It was just bang. It was like, oh my God, this just turned so interesting. And it's a slow burner.
I think it was a moment Gustavo got blown up in half.
That was cool.
I think that was like the tipping point of, all right, shit is about to hit the fan. And it was like, I remember, because I was in like one of a fairly large apartment that I had, and I remember I had like the main room at the time, so I was connecting my Mac or my PlayStation. I was watching Netflix, and I genuinely, because we were at uni, so why not? Yeah. I think I was up till like 3 o'clock in the morning, like most days, watching Breaking Bad. Like I couldn't. It had like a grip on me, which was.
It was like you were on drugs.
It was phenomenal in terms of like a wave building story. Like Statman, 96% Rotten Tomato, 9 out of 10 TV, and IMDb 9.5 out of 10.
9.5.
Yeah, and that still holds up. This show finished in 2013, and that still holds up as 9.5. And I think
Can I just sorry, right. There's one thing that's been really twisting my knickers recently, Ben.
Oh, that's painful.
So I know you don't have Facebook anymore, but on Facebook, when uni lad shares something, or one of the Bibles or whatever says, and what they've started doing recently is, oh, this new Chernobyl series has come out, and it's a 10 out of 10 on IMDb straight away, and I'm like.
It's because that's what happens.
That's literally probably going to go down by like 2 or 3 stars in like a few months. And it's this thing where they're like, oh my God, this is the new best thing ever. And it's like, no, it's not. It's just this clickbait, and people are like, oh my God. And I've been putting in the comments, guys, it's going to go down in like.
Wow. Do you want to know some controversial news to that statement? Because Chernobyl. Yeah, Chernobyl came out, and it was like the highest rated TV show.
I watched an episode, and I was just like, this is far too sad and bleak for me.
Whereas me, with my crime drama, was absolutely gagging on it.
Right.
It still holds up at a 9.5.
Does it actually still? That's impressive. Okay, fair enough.
Actually got, from a critical response, a very positive review from the Russians.
Oh, okay,
so
fair enough.
they portrayed it pretty well. But yeah, totally get what you mean. It's almost like you have to wait a while.
Yeah.
Like you said with the Star Wars movie, like, oh, that's gone down by X amount. Like,
yeah. So, okay.
Breaking Bad, I think.
Breaking Bad.
And should we rate one of the other, probably former highest rated shows on IMDb?
Yeah.
And probably the most controversial and spoken about and biggest TV series of all time? Oh, I'll cut that because we'll get copyrighted. Which is Game of Thrones. Oh,
yes. So
Jon Snow.
What had a bigger annoying ending for people? How I Met Your Mother or Game of Thrones? Because it was two endings that people would split apart on.
If you took a consensus, Samuel, I don't think there'd be any arguments that I still raged to this moment about how Game of Thrones ended.
It's weird though. I get why they did it, and it was fine, right? But the problem is the rest of the series wasn't just fine. It was awesome. And it's like, if it was not broke, don't try and fix it. Like, I know the thing was it needed to be a resolution or whatever, because it was the end. And that's fair enough. But don't ruin what's made it great with all the shock killings and stuff like that. That's what everyone is expecting. And sometimes it's good to give people something different that they're not expecting, because they might be like, oh, wow, I didn't think of that. That was awesome. But that's not what happened.
It was, like, let's take it from a positive spin. Game of Thrones, when it started, the way that it built as a show was quite incredible. The storytelling and the adaptation from the books into it was superb, and I don't think.
Well, the books haven't finished yet, right?
No, and that's where it's going to get interesting. And that is why a lot of people say that it didn't get ruined, because it was still. But if you were to say, "Oh, should we watch a Game of Thrones series?" I won't be picking out Series 8. But I think what it did so well was it was a new level of storytelling. In it, like, if you described it again like I kind of described Line of Duty or Bodyguard, but if you were to say to a simpleton or somebody who's not watched the show, not simpleton, somebody who's not watched the show, oh, it's a medieval in a different world, families and politics and war.
Well, it was everything.
Like,
it was.
You wouldn't be able to pick out. But if you said that to somebody, people would be like, "That sounds a bit lame."
Oh yeah, 100%.
But when you watch it, you're like, "Oh my god, I'm so invested in these characters."
Well, yeah, they had. Everybody had like their own character they could root for, and that was the beauty of it. So I'm sure whoever, who was rooting for the person who did end up on the throne at the end. I'm sure they were very happy that person ended up on the throne. But...
yeah, everyone was so chuffed about Bran the Broken. I'm not spoiler alerting. If you've not watched it by now, then you've been like, come on.
It's their fault for making a.
It's like Breaking Bad, isn't it? It's like he dies. Like we all know what's happened. But yeah, so Game of Thrones, Breaking Bad.
Game of Thrones.
I think they're the two biggies from this.
I think Stranger Things is just behind.
Yeah.
At the moment.
And now I'm going to bring the tone down completely. Okay. Completely. As one of my kind of like endings. Yeah, pretty much. I love a good comedy. So as well as my dark, deep, scary mind, I do love a good comedy. Which one of my favourites as a sitcom was Friday Night Dinner.
Friday Night Dinner.
Wilson. Hello, Jackie.
I cannot stand this program.
Oh my god! Honestly, my girlfriend
loves it. I can't stand it.
What I find weird about Friday Night Dinner the first time I watched it, and I think we watched about 3 episodes, both me and Katie were like, don't really get it. And that was like a few years ago.
Yeah.
But then I just kind of thought, well, the guy who's in it is obviously from The Inbetweeners, but the other guy is from another TV show that I love, which is Plebs.
Yeah.
On ITV. And I thought, well, I'll give it another go. Oh my God. Honestly, it's, as well as Silicon Valley, which is a bit of a weirder, geekier sort of sense of humour, I've never laughed as much in my life.
I disagree.
Oh,
I honestly, it's like, no, but it's like you've got the weirdo neighbour, right, who keeps coming round.
Brilliant.
No.
It is brilliant. Because his dog.
No, because
him
it's
and his dog.
Completely unrealistic. If that guy kept coming around your house, you'd fucking just get rid of him somehow.
You would kind of call the police.
Like, I'm sorry, you just wouldn't keep having him over. At least I wouldn't.
But that's the thing. It's not that they have him over. He finds ways into their house.
No, but you'd do something. You'd get a restraining order or something. I don't know.
Sam, give it another go. Like it. In the next decade, give Friday Night Dinner a go.
In the next decade, I'm sure I'll find a lot more entertaining programs.
Oh, no. Oh, honestly. Oh, what
right.
a show.
Okay. Right. Well, I'm going to mix it up a little. So I'm looking down on my list. I'm going to throw a few out. So another Netflix one is Gotham, which has gone on forever. It's had like a ridiculous amount of seasons. I'm sure the stat man will tell us how many. But it was just kind of like I had nothing to watch. And, everybody loves Batman, so I'm going to put it on, and it changes every season on what the vehicle is. It starts out very much like a crime drama because it's about Jim Gordon in his younger years, and it's about how all the characters end up, to basically the start of the Batman main story anyway, because it's like Bruce Wayne as a kid and stuff, and it's just so good because it's like, I don't think they've done, the Nolan trilogy is very like a serious version of real world Batman.
Yeah.
But this is like, it's comic book live action. Whereas, so obviously they've done a very cartoony comic book cartoon before, but it was the first one where they've gone like full, if this was in like a comic book real life. And I just loved it. Yeah, absolute binge watched it. The Penguin and the Riddler in it, the actors who play them should play them for the rest of eternity, in my opinion. But that's definitely one of my favourite Netflixes. Another one that I'll throw out there is Final Space, which has just had its second season. That's like an animated, like Family Guy kind of thing.
Oh,
it's kind of like it's the main character is a guy like Star-Lord from Guardians of the Galaxy. He's got this cute little alien thing that follows him around. It's like a spaceship. They go on adventures. It's awesome. So that's number 2 from me.
So yeah, with Gotham, you know that's ended now.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah.
Oh, sad times. But yeah, that ran for 5 series and 100 episodes. So it looks like they ended it at number 100, which is pretty cool.
I was gonna say because it didn't have like 9 seasons or whatever. It's because it had. I like it when they have like 20 episodes a season. That was so okay, fair enough.
So 2 that I'd actually kind of forgot because it's just come up when I was doing some stats. Again, I do love a British drama. So you've got Sherlock with Benedict Cumberbatch,
right?
The greatest poshest name of all time. I thought that was absolutely brilliant. I thought that was very, very good. And also, again, another show that I watched once, didn't get it, and I gave it another go and did not regret it, was Fleabag.
You see...
Again, it ticked the boxes of what I needed from my comedy. It's like I have like a little comedy nerve. And if you can rub it the right way, I'm on board. Maybe not like the greatest show of the decade, but I thought that was very, very funny.
I think we're going to be able to... This is what it's all about, this episode, for the listeners as well. You're going to take from both of our lists and you're going to watch them. I'm going to just listen into it. I'll probably take some from your list, Ben, and then I hope you take from mine, because like Fleabag is something that I've seen, but I've looked at it and I've been like, nah. Like, it's not for me, really.
It's a very weird. Like, one of the favorite things I think you would like it.
Right.
Is she breaks the fourth wall.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, I love that.
So, and not to spoil it too much, in the second series, when she's kind of like talking and she's acting, and then she goes like that, and she talks directly. One of the other characters then goes, "You're doing that thing," and she's like,
"Yeah,
I'm not doing anything." And it's like, "No, you're doing it again," and it's like, it's so well written, and I kind of got a little bit annoyed
that sounds quite good.
The actor is Phoebe Waller-Bridge, and I think she's about to ruin James Bond. So I didn't want to like it too much, and I was like, "Oh, it's kind of really funny." The other, also based on your kind of cartoon-based TV show, I think one of the big ones that's emerged, maybe in the last year,
I know what you're going to say.
Rick and Morty.
I was going to save that for my last two because I think it's honestly next to my other final one is the most well-written thing in the last decade. It is ridiculous, the multi-strand narrative they go to with that. It's so funny. It's kind of like Back to the Future, but mixed with Family Guy. I would say.
Very funny, very funny. And again, that's only one that I've really got into probably quite recently.
Really,
I'm not going to sit here and go, "I've watched it since the beginning of time." Like, I've not, but
I've got a hold on, I've got a little Morty.
Oh no!
Oh jeez, Rick.
It's just a burping. Like, and
they had a really good app on my phone. It's the burping. I had like it's like Pokemon Yellow, but it's Rick and Morty, and basically you play as Rick and you go around fighting people, and you all have different kinds of Mortys that you can catch.
That is brilliant.
It's hilarious, and it's just as good as Pokemon. But Rick and Morty, I think, is the best written thing. It's a bit crude. I don't think people who
it's not for kids.
That kind of, no, but it's I think it's so well written. It's just all these different dimensions with unlimited things they can write. They can kill themselves and come back to life, and just the ones they love, and
all in an episode.
It's just crazy. It's got its finger on the pulse. It's awesome. So animated things are definitely in. Final Space it's similar to Rick and Morty, actually, the one that I mentioned earlier. So, what were we talking about before Rick and Morty? You said like Fleabag and stuff.
Yeah.
One that I liked that I was watching with my girlfriend is called Lovesick on Netflix, and it's basically just about the main character. It's about a guy who he gets an STD, and what the show is he has to, he's just getting in touch with all of his exes, and it's a story of him getting in touch with all of his exes and letting them know that he's got an STD.
Is the ending that he finds out who gave it him?
I can't remember, but it was short-lived, unfortunately. And again, it's kind of like something that I could relate to because it's like, living in your 20s. They're all in London kind of thing. And there's not a lot of shows that do that. So I was a big, big fan of that one. I think on my list, I've only got 2 left.
I'll let you fire away. I've pretty much hit some of my big guns. I think there's definitely ones that I'm going to go, I should have mentioned that. But, let's maybe end it with your last two big ones.
So I was going to leave Rick and Morty because I think it is the best along with this next one. So I think the best show in the world of our generation that probably doesn't get all the, fanfare that it should is Black Mirror.
Okay.
Because I think it is like Rick and Morty. It is so well written. It's just, it makes you think about your life for like half an hour after you've sat down and watched it. You have to be like, oh my God. Like, what if that was like, they come up with all these hypothetical situations and it's so clever. You're like, that could be life in 100 years.
Or 10.
Or 10. But it's one of those where if me and my girlfriend watch it, like we can't watch one every night because it messes with your anxiety. it's horrible. Like it's one of those like sometimes they have light-hearted ones. I can remember on one episode, it was like, oh, that had a nice ending. I didn't expect that.
Yeah.
But it's not, and it's interesting because sometimes they'll do a 5-episode series, sometimes they'll do a 10-episode one. It's interesting to see that all the celebrities that it's like they have massive actors come in for one episode because the actors know how well it's written and they can get anyone to be in it because everybody wants to be in it because it's so crazy. I think it might be written by the same people that did Bandersnatch. I think, Bandersnatch. You know Bandersnatch, right?
Yeah.
That's because that was like a one-off Black Mirror episode. And yeah, it's just so clever. It comes up with all these high, like, futuristical and alternate, but it's very realistic as well. It's not crazy. It's
a twisted sense of a true reality.
Yeah.
It's I would agree. It's very.
It plays on social media.
I've had a. It's either, I think, sometimes either very good or, like you say, it's almost too much.
It's too much. I haven't watched every episode. I can't because it literally just makes me worry about life.
Yeah. So before we make anyone else ponder too much about their life because they're remembering Black Mirror, I guess what's your final?
Well, this
TV show series of the decade.
It started before the decade, again, but it finished in the decade, and I don't think there's that many great British comedies anymore. When you look back and you've got Fawlty Towers and Blackadder and like Red Dwarf and all these great ones, and Little Britain was one, obviously.
And Friday Night.
But that was, and yeah, that
and Travel Man
thing. So, what I'm going to go with is IT Crowd.
Well, weirdly enough, that I said Travel Man because it's Richard Ayoade.
I know it's Richard. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know what? Yeah. Totally agree with you.
And for whatever reason, I don't think a lot of people have watched it because it was just on Channel 4 and
it was geeky.
You know,
it was geeky.
But I think it poked fun at geekiness, but it was geeky. I think it's a great British comedy that. You know what? I've just thought of another British comedy.
Do you know what's hilarious? So obviously, I have Google up as a reference here, and I genuinely typed in IT Crowd. And the first thing that came up,
Go on,
and I'm going to throw it out there, it went, IT Crowd, Black Man. What is wrong with the internet? What is wrong with the internet? The gentleman is called Richard Ayoade, and he is a comical genius. It was 2013 that ended. Oh, just that episode where they're like, Jen, we got the internet in a box. The internet is in a box. Oh my God, we're destroying the
best episode.
And, oh my God,
he goes out with the woman who's had the sex change.
One of my favourite bits is the bit where he's like, for some reason, he's decided to be that he's disabled, and then he falls on the floor in the disabled toilet and goes, I'm disabled. It's just like,
he gets someone knocks on the door for the disabled toilet and he's like, oh crap, they're going to catch me. So he pretends to be disabled.
He falls on the floor and decides to pretend to be disabled.
He pretends that he's being mugged. And this actually happened to me. I went to a gig at the Lead Mill the other night, and I couldn't use the toilets in the Lead Mill. This is like an indie rock bar in Sheffield, and like there's no toilet seats, there's no toilet paper, and I had to go. And then I saw there was a door open for the disabled toilets. So I went in and felt amazing afterwards, by the way. But I was sat there and I was like, oh God, what if someone knocks on the door and it's like IT Crowd?
Yeah. Oh, I'm disabled. Suddenly you just become Irish. But I'm glad you ended it on IT Crowd because that...
Well...
what a recommendation for people.
I can't end it because I forgot about Peep Show.
Sam,
another great British one.
The problem is we could keep
we could
going.
Go all night.
We could totally go all night. When did that? 2003
That's been on for like 10 years.
Wow, yeah, 12 years.
Yeah, it finished halfway through.
See, this is the problem. We come up with a bit of a list, And then it's like that leads you down a different avenue, and then you're like, oh yeah, that was brilliant.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was good.
So basically, me and you have just reeled off loads of our favourite programs. We haven't even really we've gone into a bit of detail about them, but we are restricted by time. We're trying to keep it interesting for people. So I hope that we've come up with things that everyone can enjoy.
And I'm hoping maybe some recommendations that people kind of go, oh, I've never seen that. And if you've never seen IT Crowd, just go watch it because it's just brilliant.
Yeah, just like get in touch on Instagram and on YouTube and post in the comments. If you want more detail about, why should I watch this? Just ask us. And then
I get honestly, currently at the moment, update. All I get now is text messages about tech.
You're that guy.
Oh, Ben, yeah, I saw this video. Oh, could you help me with this? I'm like, yeah, totally. I'm like, I guess this is why we started the show.
That's what we're here for.
Interact.
We're here for all your movie, tech, sport, music, and
life.
Whatever needs and gaming needs.
Oh, that was. Oh, I want to go watch so much TV now.
I want to binge.
I'm going to be up till 3 o'clock in the morning. Oh, Jesus. That's like,
you all right?
Yeah, I'm going to be watching. Like, I think I might try to get an episode of Black Mirror. I should edit, but maybe an episode of Black Mirror. We'll see.
Cool.
Well, anyway, so I guess next week we'll bring out another list. If you have any recommendations, like Sam said, you can reach us on every social media apart from Facebook because that is evil. And
maybe one day.
And let us know what lists you would like us to chat about. And even if you have a microphone, a computer with FaceTime, maybe you could even be a special guest.
You could join us.
And if you've got a man
someone's going to come on and they're going to just slap us around. They're going to be like, right, Sam, stop talking about this. Ben, shut up.
This is how you do a podcast.
They're going to hijack the show.
Okay. They're just going to be like, give me your Instagram tags. Like, okay, here you go. But anyway, on that gargantuan bombshell, that is the end of the show. We will get this uploaded. And we will see you next week. Whoop, whoop. Right. See you later, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.